Hey guys, my name is Nora and welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to be finally doing this wrap up. I have filmed this video twice already and hated the results. Frustration. So we are just going to jump right in. Where is my paper? And I read 10 books. You can hear the paper rustling, some ASMR for you over there. No, I am not about that life. So I read 10 books in the month of July, and we have 3 romances, 2 graphic novels, 3 fantasies, 1 sci-fi, and 1 contemporary. And my star ratings are 3 stars, 4 3 stars, 1 4.5 stars, and then 3 5 stars, which I call it a victory.
Harry Screech!
Not the best that I've done, but still pretty good. So we are just going to jump right in and start talking about these books before I just mess up this whole entire video.
Well, when life gives you lemons.
Alright, so the first book that we are going to be talking about, it is Wicked Saints by Emily E. Duncan. Now, this was released this year and it got a lot of hype. And turns out, it's not that it's not worth the hype. It's just wasn't worth the hype for me. And this was, you know, it wasn't a total disappointment, but like, it could have delivered so much, but it fell short. Now this is like an epic fantasy, and it follows 3 characters. It follows Nadia, which is a cleric who can speak to all the gods, and all the gods give her the power. Then it follows Malachi, which is a blood mage and the monster of the story. And then Seraphim, who is a blood prince, and it is the most powerful blood prince out there. So it follows their perspectives, and there's been a war going on for a while, and it's bringing way too much destruction. So all 3 unlikely characters plus 2 more, they decide to gang up together at some point in the book and try to stop the king and try to stop this war. Now, man, these characters were really good. I really like the magic system, like the cleric system. It was great. Trigger warnings for blood, because using blood magic, they do have to cut themselves and get the blood from wherever. So trigger warnings for that. But I think what fell short was the execution. It was just like just any other fantasy, which maybe if this book would have came out like 3 years ago, it would have been automatic 5 stars. But now that there's so many more fantasies coming out, it could have done a lot better. But I will be continuing on with the series because this was Emily's debut novel, and I think she did a pretty good job. So we'll see what the next book comes up. Next book that we are going to be talking about, actually the next 2 books that we're going to be talking about, are Image Comics graphic novels, and we are going to start with Bingo Love. Now Bingo Love, it is a POC queer romance, which is very excellent now that I say all those words out loud. But it follows those 2 characters over the span of 60 years, and you get to see from them from when they were childhood all the way to their elderly lives. Now, I thought this book was really nice. The art style was great, but I gave it a 3.5 stars. I left it as a 3, and the reason it's because it was a lot. Like, you are looking into 60 years of their life, and like every single page it was something different, and it is, you kind of get lost. But I still enjoyed the book, and I highly recommend. If you want to check it out, then check it out. The next comic book from Image that we are going to be talking about, it is Blackbird Volume 1. Now this recently just came out as well, and I am super hyped because this follows a Latinx family in a fantasy setting. Hello.
Hello.
Yes. So I'm super excited for this story, and it did not disappoint. Even though I didn't give it a 5 stars, I still gave it a 4 stars, and I'm super excited to be continuing on with the series. So this follows the Rodriguez's family, specifically Nina. Nina, when she was a little girl, there was an accident happen, and her whole life changed when she saw this gigantic beast, and she's convinced that there is a hidden magical world with cabals and everything, and everybody thinks that she is crazy and nobody believes her until her sister gets kidnapped by this giant beast, and now she has to go on an adventure to find her sister and discover magic. Y'all, this book was so good, and the art, the colors, probably the best graphic novel art style and colors that I have read so far this year. Highly recommend. Next book that I'm going to be talking about, I was super excited about, but it did let me down. It did let me down. It is Soul of the Sword by Judy Kagawa. Y'all, Shadow of the Fox was one of my favorite books of last year. Like, I loved that I love that story so much, and it is pretty much the whole entire story reads like anime slash Inuyasha, and you know, I love Inuyasha with all my heart, so
She's got a line for everything.
you know I was gonna love the story. But Soul of the Sword kind of disappointed me because I thought that Tatsumi's point of view and Hakai Mono's point of view, it was excellent, y'all. Like, if I can just rate it off of their story, this would have been an automatic 5 stars, y'all. Like, I had such a great time reading them. But my entire problem was Yumiko, and not her point of view, just her in general. I'm a huge sucker for like character growth and character development, and I swear she went backwards here in this story, and it was just so frustrating from beginning to end. And this is the reason why I give it a 3.5 stars. I still recommend it. I still think it's a great book, but just Yumiko-chan got on my last nerves. But I cannot give you the synopsis of this one because I'd be spoiling the first one. But the first one, Yumiko-chan, Yumiko-chan, she is a kitsune, which she is half fox, half human, so she's half kitsune. And the temple that she lives in protects 1/3 of the scroll. Now, the third of the scrolls, every 300 years, summons this great dragon, and they get one wish. But usually that wish turns into chaos, destruction, and death. So they split it into 3 so that temples can guard it. But now the 300 years approaching, and everybody's looking for the scroll. Yumiko-chan's temple gets attacked, so she has to flee with the scroll, and that is her sole purpose, to protect the scroll and bring it to the next temple. But she meets Tatsumi, but the thing is that Tatsumi, he is after the scroll and to kill whoever has it, but Yumiko-chan has it and never tells him. So it is a fun ride, and it has that trope of the ragtags, that they are traveling and then they find people to connect to their group. Man, that book is such a great time. But you do get to follow the other characters in Soul of the Sword, and the side characters, like, they really outdid themselves in this book. They're so cute. I love it. If you read it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But I still do recommend it, but I give it a 3.5 stars. Next book that I do have a physical copy, and it is The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. Now, this book follows Olive Torres and her sister, Amy. Amy is a perfectionist, and she is the lucky one. I'm telling, like, She plays off the radio and wins the trips, wins the prizes, and Olive Torres is a hot mess. So they're twins, but totally opposite. Amy is getting married to her husband, and Ethan, yes, Ethan is the best man and the groom's brother. But when everybody ends up getting horribly poisoned and sick from seafood,
disgusting!
Olive and Ethan, they didn't eat, so they have to pretend to be married so they can not let go to waste a vacation that her sister won, which is a vacation to Maui, which is all paid. A lot of stuff is included. It is great. So we follow these two characters, and it is a hate to love romance, which you know is a bomb.com. I'm a sucker for hate to romance. And yeah, it just follows them. So I give this book a 4 out of 5 stars. It is just so unfortunate that I still haven't given a Christina Lauren a 5 stars, which she's coming out with more books and I need to read them all, because even though I don't give her books 5 out of 5 stars, none of them yet, I love their writing and I love their relationship building. The thing that gets me very aggravated is that towards the end, every single book, towards the end, something just throws the story off, and it just, you know, it might be relevant to the story and it might not be relevant, but it doesn't matter. It just takes a whole entire focus off of the characters, and the characters always have this like this scenario that happens in every single one of her books. At the end, the scenario happens and then these two characters have a fallout, and it's just like I can already see what is coming, and I'm like, just, can I just skip the ending, because I don't need to know, I don't need to hear it. But 3/4 of this book is spectacular. The ending, actually half of this book is spectacular, 5 stars. The other half, it's like 3-4 stars. Oh, the next book, I do have a copy of it. It is behind me, and it is Down Among the Sticks and Bones by Shauna Maguire. If you did not know, I love this series so much. And Shauna Maguire is a genius at writing, and nobody can change my mind about that. If you have not read Every Heart a Doorway, this is part of the Wayward Children series. I highly suggest that you do give it a chance. Yes, these are shorter books, and a lot of the complaint is that they want the books to be longer, but honestly, I think that this is like the best part of the series, because yes, it is a shorter book, but every single sentence and every single page has like the most perfect pacing, and like once you start reading it, you cannot put it down, because you're like, okay, give me more, I need to know more. Oh my god,
Where's your other side? Oh my god!
what is happening? This world. And even with what, this is usually not even 200 pages. What this is like 187, and the world building, it's so crisp, especially in this one. This is this used to be my favorite book until the last book came out, but this follows Jack and Jill into their portal world. Now obviously I cannot give spoilers because you need to read the first one, but it follows those two characters from the first book, and they are in a very dark world. It's almost like Frankenstein and vampires just combine into one. And Jack and Jill, obviously they can't always be together, so they are separated. One ends up being the master's daughter with a vampire, and one ends up being with the mad scientist. You will figure it out when you read it. This book is excellent. Representation, great. Story building, amazing. 5 out of 5 stars. Alright, y'all. Second to last book, which has been hyped, and it's still actually pretty hyped on every single platform, media, on BookTube. on Bookish Twitter, on Bookstagram, on Goodreads. We are talking about Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. This book is so good. Like, I don't even want to spend so much time talking about it because everybody and their grandmothers have already read it. And if you have not read it, then you already know. Literally, you already know. This follows Alex, which is the first son. His mom is the president. And then it follows Prince Henry. And these two have a hating feud. They literally cannot stand each other. Well, more like Alex cannot stand him. And Henry just is too posh to even care. But, they start a national incident when it looks like they're fighting at a wedding, which technically speaking wasn't even true. But this thing blows out of proportion, and the president's term needs to be renewed in a year. So they decide to fake their friendship.
Two bros chilling in the hot tub, 5 feet apart because they're not gay.
So that they don't start a national scandal, and then this book takes off from there. Now, do not hate me. I gave this a 4 or 4.5 out of 5 stars. I thought that the romance was so cute. Like, I was just grinning and I was blushing and I was having the time of my life. But I had 2 problems with this book. This book, yes, it is a contemporary romance, but it is as equal romance as it is a political book. Now, yes, it does follow their romance, but it follows the mom's presidency, incidences, and like all that stuff. And all I was in the mood for is the romance aspect. So I caught myself trying to just skim read some stuff because I'm just like, give me the romance. So that took a little bit off. And because of that, it resulted in this book being pretty chunky. Like, for a contemporary romance novel, it was a long book. That's why I gave it a 4.5 out of 5 stars, because it was long and I wanted more romance of it. The side characters are everything. Like, I really do hope that Casey McQuiston writes a spin-off series for these characters, because I need to know more, especially both of their bodyguards. Excellent. The next book that I read, it is The Flat Chair by Beth O'Leary. Now, I saw that Chelsea read this, I want to say about like a couple months ago, and she said it snuck up on her and she loved it. And usually, like, the romance books that Chelsea falls in love, usually I tend to fall in love, so I get all my recommendations from her. Y'all, I'm gonna link her channel. She is excellent. Go follow her. And I decided to search for the audiobook because I was just feeling meh about everything, and I found the audiobook and I was like, oh, I have to listen to this. And it was excellent, y'all. Man, we follow where are we? We follow Tiffy and Leon. Now, Leon works at a hospital, so he works night shifts and sleeps all day. Tiffy works at a publishing company and she works all day and sleeps all night. But Tiffy is in a very toxic relationship with her ex-boyfriend, and she still lives in her ex-boyfriend's house when the book starts, and he's off with another woman, and poor girl, you know, she's been through a lot. So she finally decides, her and her group of friends, which the side characters, best group of friends that I've read. Love them so much. But she decides to rent out a flat, or share a flat. Now, she comes to terms with Leon because, again, he works at night, she works at day, and there is only one room, one bathroom. So they just share a room, and it just follows them and their story, and her learning how to pick up the pieces again with her friends, and how to deal with a toxic relationship. This does have trigger warnings for like gaslighting, emotional abuse, and stalking. And this book is just crazy. Like, I was just feeling for her, but like when she started to the finish, this book was excellent. I loved it so much, and if you couldn't tell, I get a 5 out of 5 stars. The next book that I read, it is Eliza and Her Monsters by Francesca Zappia. Finally, I have read this book. This book has been on my TBR forever, and I wish I would have read it when I was younger, but still, it was just, the story is amazing, and it gets dark. So trigger warnings for suicidal thoughts, mental health, depression, and anxiety. So tread cautiously. If you are not, the story's gonna start nice, but like towards the end, if you are not mentally prepared, I would suggest that you take it slow or put it down if you need to. But this follows Eliza, and she is a famous webcomics. I call it webtoons because I'm a huge fan of webtoons. So she is famous author for Monstrous Sea. So she writes and she draws, and she's in her senior year and nobody knows who she is. So she keeps it that way until this boy Wallace transfers to her school, and he is selectively mute. So he'll talk only on certain occasions. If not, they'll write notes back and forth together. It is the sweetest thing ever. He is a cinnamon bun. We love Wallace. But with that, you know, secret identity, you know, she has to be very careful. And it just follows her navigating through senior year. She has a lot of stuff going on with her family because her parents, they think that this is a hobby. Like, the parents don't even know how big she truly is. So it follows her with her family dynamic and issues, and it follows her with Wallace and her going through her senior year and trying to decide. Now, if you're still in school, I suggest this to everybody, but if you're in high school, I highly suggest that you read this book. Man, it was such a great book. And if you can tell, I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. The final book that I read in the month of July, it is Aurora Rising by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. Now, I don't want to talk too much. Oh, look, we match. Hey.
Oh, kill him. Oh, kill him. Oh.
But I know I don't want to talk too much about this book because I do have an in-depth 5-minute review on this book. So if you want, please just go watch that video. I don't even think it hit 5 minutes. I think it's like 4 minutes and 30 seconds. So it will not take you long. So this book is a 4 out of 5 stars. I had a great time reading it. I did have like a couple of issues. Like, some of the characters did fall back. Like Scarlett and Zila, I wanted to know more about these characters, and the pacing was a little bit weird at times. I tabbed this book up, but overall I did have a great time reading it, and I do recommend, since this is the first book, you know, they have to go through the characters, they have to go through the introduction, so I'm pretty sure that the second book is going to be better because we all know Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff, they be killing it with their writing duo. So recommend. Alright, and that is the end of this wrap up. Hopefully when I sit down and edit, I don't hate myself and I don't hate this video. So if you see a purple shirt, we did good. Thank you so much for watching, and please like, comment, and subscribe if you made it this far. You know, you are the real MVP here. If you want to see videos from me, if you want to see a tag video, if you just want recommendation videos, whatever, just comment down and let me know. Like on my last video, a subscriber comment down below and they said that they wanted to see a tag video from me. So after this video is filmed, I'm going to film that tag video. So I do read the comments, and I do respond to all the comments. But please do subscribe and like, and I will see you next time. Bye.